Hey, what's up, boys? This is Contango coming at you from Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. And today we are going to do another strategy video for G40 Alt Universe. It's been quite a while since I've done one of these. So far, I only have one out for Germany and for Japan. And so I think at the time I had put those out, the experience was kind of that the allies were winning a lot. And so I wanted to put something out to try to help the Axis. And at this point, I'd say the pendulum has swung. Things are pretty even now. If anything, I would say the Axis might be looking a little bit more favored, depending on the game. And so I think it's time to try to put out some strategy thoughts on the allies. So today we're going to be talking about Russia specifically, but a little bit about the allies in general. So let's get into that. So what we have here in front of us is this is just after the first German turn. And in this particular case, Germany has decided to really hit the UK pretty hard, but they're looking ready to go after Russia. So they just declared war on the UK, took out a lot of fleet here, a lot of fleet here. There's a battleship here, and they purchased 10 ground units, 4 infantry, and 6 artillery here. So they're looking ready to go after Russia. Didn't declare war on France, didn't buy any transports or any fleet to make it look like they're going to try to go after what you might call London over here. So this is something like this is pretty common of what you'll see if Germany's going to go after Russia first. You can also tell by down here, they use this transport to send some units over this way, sent the units that were in G15 this way, didn't go after this. So yeah, so Russia is looking like they're on the back foot now. I do think with Russia, you kind of need to have maybe 3 different mindsets of how you're going to play, depending on what the Axis are doing. Typically, the Axis have, I guess, 3 general strategies they could be going for. One would be going after mainly Russia and China first. The other would be going after the UK, so going after London up here and going after, India down here. So they might try to go after that first and more or less knock the UK out of the game, or they might decide to go after France first, in which case they're going to be rolling through here and probably combining that with going after London. And then Japan would be most likely going after this whole island down here in this city as well. So I think you need to play quite a bit differently depending on which one of those scenarios you're up against. If it's the Russia and China strategy first for the Axis, in that case, you're going to need to be on the back foot, playing very defensively, and just trying to hold on to what you can. If it's a France first kind of game, that is really Russia's time to shine, and they can be all up in Germany's business. Moving forward, try to get up here to, I guess this is R8, get this territory. You can even sometimes take this city, depending on how safe Germany is trying to be. But if they're really trying to go after London and taking a lot of units from here to do it, then you have a shot at getting this city from Germany as Russia. And if not, you can park down here and get your bonus. There's a bonus for all these pro-allies that are in this section for Russia. And if you're parked here, you have the ability to easily get your other national objective for having 3 Axis territories, because you got 1, 2, 3 right here. So if you have your main force right here, Germany's going to be worried about this city because you're pretty close to it, and you can just be picking off these kind of one at a time. So you'd be getting your extra bonus. Yeah, so if it's France first, you want to be really aggressive. If it's UK first, you also want to be pretty aggressive, but you have to watch out because there could be a whole fleet of transports sitting right here that could make a quick switch and come back over here and take your city, or park here, try to do an end run around you and get one of your cities. So you got to be pretty careful in that case, but still you want to be aggressive. And then if it is Russia and China first game, then you're pretty much on the back foot. So that's what we're going to focus on today, is the Russia China first game. So I think the first thing you want to do, obviously, is decide what you're purchasing, and you need to think ahead a little bit because you don't, as Russia, you don't have a major factory at the start of this game. You do have two spots you could put them, one being right here in R16, or what you might call Moscow, and then one down here, R26, that can also have a major factory. So two options there. You do have enough factories to produce 12 units per turn as it is. With Germany coming hard, you're probably going to lose this city and this factory as well. So your production is going to be curtailed eventually. So you need to kind of think, am I going to stick with the production I've got and maybe go with higher tier units, or am I going to try to get out a major factory at one of these points here, which of course is going to cost you 20 extra IPCs. So that's a consideration. That's 20 IPCs not going into units. But so in this particular scenario, I'm going to suggest that we do try to go for a major factory, and that we're going to try to put it here. This is going to I guess, set us up to try to hold this for as long as possible against Germany coming across the north. Meanwhile, down here, we're going to try to hold this just with the minor factory. We can hopefully do that with China's help. If we're thinking that Japan is probably going to be going after China, China may be wanting to back off anyway, and so there's a good chance they're going to want to park in this city right here. In this game, China has the ability to move onto a few of the allied territories that are right next door to theirs. So this territory and these ones and this one and this one. So China is able to kind of help you defend this city. So that's kind of a good objective. It's to keep at least two cities as Russia. It's going to be hard to keep more than that. You're probably going to lose this one for sure. And Japan might take this one from you with transports. But if you got this one and this one, you're doing all right. If you have to abandon one of them and go down to just one, then so be it. But you'll have to make that decision kind of later in the game. So in the meantime, Germany did not declare war on turn one. They just wanted to go after the UK. It's pretty hard for Germany to wipe out everything that they want to of the UK's on the first turn while declaring war on Russia. They just don't have quite enough to do that. So it's pretty common that they'll not declare war on turn one, but they probably will on turn two. So we need to be prepared for that. And yeah, so what we're going to do with our purchases in this case is, like I said, we're going to try to get a major factory out, and we're probably going to do that on turn three. So in the meantime, I want to use all my production slots. So I want to make sure I'm getting out 12 units. So I'm going to be going low tier units, and I'm going to get 12 units out, but I'm going to try to save a little bit of money for that major factory. So in this case, I'm going to buy 3 artillery and 9 infantry. Save $3 for later. So that's going to be my buy. And we have no combat moves because we're not at war yet. So nothing to do on combat moves. So let's go straight into non-combat moves. Yeah, so let me just pause it for a second here. I need to get a drink of water. All right, so I guess our major priorities for right now would be number one, this northern island. We're probably not going to be able to keep that in the long term, but in the short term, we want to be able to keep it for as long as possible. As you can see, Germany only has 1 transport and it's way over here. So right now, all they have to work with is these 6 infantry and whatever planes ended up here, in this case, just the 2 bombers. And so we want to try to either defend this or at least be set up to retaliate if Germany does take this on the second turn, and make them pay for it. So that's one priority. Priority 2 is keeping this factory and city for as long as we can. Germany is going to get money out of us when they do take this, so we want to keep it for as long as we can, and also for the production slots and the money for ourselves. So that's kind of priority number 2. And priority number 3 is we want to fight over these pro-allieds for as long as we can. We can pick up those units if Germany and Italy haven't taken them out, and if they have, we can retaliate. If we have those territories, it's an extra 2 IPCs per territory. So we want to fight over those if we can. And the last thing I guess to mention is we want to be in a position to not let Germany get next door to this, or at least, yeah, not next door to this city, or at least not as far forward as possible. So if Germany goes to this territory here, there's probably nothing we can do about it, but we want to be set up that they can't go directly to these territories if possible. And it's going to depend on what Germany bought. In this case, they bought slow moving units, infantry and artillery. So we're going to be able to make sure they can't sit on these territories for at least for one more turn. But if they went all mechanized units on the first turn, then they might just have too much and we won't be able to deal with it. So that's something to keep in mind. What did they buy here on the first turn? But anyways, so this is going to be, like I said, just non-combat moves. We want to keep this island as long as we can, but we do want to abandon it eventually, sooner or later. We don't want our units just parked up there to get obliterated. So we want to defend it for a little while and then get out of there. So what I'm going to suggest is let's start off with these units here. So we want to get everybody off the front line. So those units can all move back here with this group. This is going to be our main group. This one infantry can't make it. Let's put him in R11. He'll be in position to attack PA, whatever this is, on the next turn, because Germany's going to want to take that out. So we'll have mechanized units in this guy and planes that can retaliate. So either Germany's going to have to commit a lot to this or just leave it open to retaliation. So we'll put all our mechanized units here as well. We'll put all our slow moving units that can get there as well. Okay, up here in the north, I want to come over here and pick up this infantry from the island. I'm going to get one more from here, bring them back and put them in the city. This transport should be safe with 2 ships and a 3-plane scramble. Right now, Germany just has the 2 bombers, so that's all we have to worry about. And so they should be fine there. Let me just check my notes here for a second. Okay, so next, let's put this sub here. Germany is probably going to want to declare war on us on the second turn. And so we want to have this in a good position to convoy. I mean, I guess it could go here as well. I don't mind this spot. It's nice if you are able to find a way to get this sub onto this side of the map with the UK and the US. It's really handy later in the game, because what's going to happen is the UK and the US are going to probably be down here or up here, and Germany might use ships to block in this sea zone or down here. And so what Russia can do, if they have a sub or possibly planes over here, they can knock out that blocker and really mess with what the Axis are doing defensively if they're just throwing up blockers. Yeah, so it's kind of a blocker killer. So Germany does have its destroyer. In this case, they only took 1 hit over here. It's possible that they might have lost a sub and maybe even the destroyer. So look for an opportunity to get this sub over here if you can. In this case, maybe it's going to run up here, and Germany could kill it, but it's going to take them away from, coming this way. So maybe there for now, or here, but we'll do C zone, whatever this is, 25 for now. Okay, these infantry are going to come, actually, I'm going to put 1 here and 1 here. You'll see in a minute why I want 1 there. It's going to be to help defend planes. These 2 are going to move forward. All of these guys from Moscow are coming up here. These guys are moving north. This mechanized infantry north as well. All of these guys are going north. Yeah, so we're going to try to make our main army group up here. We've got this transport down here and 2 guys on this island. Sometimes people will come down here with one from this island and the guy from this island and drop them, or back up here and drop them here. We're going to abandon this guy and head up this way. So unfortunately, we're going to have 1 infantry that's locked on this island. But what I'm doing here is I'm setting up to retaliate against this northern island. So we'll see more of that in a minute. We're also going to send this sub up here so that it can convoy on the next turn and be ready to attack some German ships if the opportunity presents itself. In the south, we're going to try to group up as much as we can, especially against Italy. Italy comes first in the turn order after Russia, that is. So it goes Italy, then Germany. So what we really want to do down in the south is try to, as much as we can, keep Germany and Italy separate. If they group up, then what's going to happen is Italy can open for Germany, take a territory, and then Germany will just pile in. And together they're going to have enough that Russia won't be able to retaliate against them. But if I can keep them separate for as long as possible, independently, Russia will be almost as big as they are. So that'll be good if we can keep them separate. So we're going to put as much forward here as we can. These 2 guys will come here, potentially going to take this pro-allied on the next turn if we get in the war. Whoops, actually, let's leave those back there. They don't need to be forward. From here, they can hit either. Potentially go up north if we ever wanted them to. Yeah, so we're going to group everything up in this general area. For now, we're putting our main force here. If Italy goes after this pro-allied and it doesn't go well, like they have maybe 11 or 12 units, I think, available here. If they split one off to go after this pro-axis, and if they lose a couple here, we'll be in good shape to retaliate against them. You may want to leave 1 plane down here for that. That could help out a lot. In this case, I'm going to take both of these planes and head up north. And so now we've got all 5 of our planes covering this island up here. And so this is going to set up kind of an interesting scenario for Germany, where they can take this out. There's only 4 infantry here. They've got 6 infantry and 2 bombers, so that's no problem for them to take out. But if they do, then we're going to have 2 transports here to be able to retaliate, kill whatever's left over. Maybe we'll kill that with 1 transport and have the other one take one of these territories, and we have 5 planes to do that with. So Germany is most likely going to back off. Well, they might take this out. We'll see, but they might take it out, but they're going to lose everything in the process, most likely. And the other thing they might do is use this bomber to come 1, 2, 3, 4 and take out this transport 5, 6, 7 and land here. And so if that happens, that's also okay. They're either going to need to send infantry back to defend that bomber. And even if they do, we're going to have this transport left and we're going to have a lot of planes. So we can, whatever's kind of remaining here, we can sort of nuke it with our planes and our transports. So we've got a retaliation kind of no matter what Germany does. So I like that setup. The only downside is we're not getting this 1 infantry down here off of the island. So anyway, that's it for non-combat moves. Let's go into placing the units. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 artillery up north here with this factory. I want my other artillery that I purchased down here with this factory. And the rest of these infantry will go here in my remaining slots. And that's that. So that's the setup. The benefits, like I said, are you get to put some control over this island in the north, you've got some retaliation available. The other benefit is Germany really can't go to this territory, which they would like to take out this city on the next turn. You've got too much here. I think this is like a 97% chance you're going to win this battle if they go here. If they go here with everything that's in G6 plus these mechanized units, I think that's a 70% battle or something like that. So they're probably not going to want to do that either. They're probably just going to go here, and there's nothing you can really do about that. So you're just going to have to give that up and then look for an opportunity to retaliate against whatever's here. So maybe they go in with these 5 units, maybe they add the mechanized infantry, maybe they add more infantry from here. So in any case, you might be able to retaliate against this, or you might not. So, and then we're going to look for an opportunity to retaliate against Italy down here if they go after this pro-allied and it doesn't go well for them. So, and then in the future, Germany probably is going to bring this fleet back on the second turn and be prepared to either attack this city or attack the northern island. Maybe they get another transport, who knows? Maybe they get an aircraft carrier. But what you can do on the second turn is you're probably going to be able to park this destroyer in this sea zone. None of these ships will be able to make it there. Now it's possible Germany will build stuff here, but you're going to have 1, 2, 3 ships and 5 planes to attack it if they do. So either they're really buying a lot of Navy or they're not. they don't really want to have that much Navy. So if they're buying that much Navy, that's good for you because it's not ground units coming to Moscow. So if they buy a lot of Navy, that's fine. If they don't, then you can probably park your destroyer here, and that will mean that this city is safe. And the northern island, it won't be safe. They can come around the top and get it, but that's kind of okay too. It takes them sort of out of position, and they've got to watch out for your planes. So that's kind of the setup there. Again, in the future, you want to try to not get stuck here in R4. If you try to defend this too hard, Germany may come and just kind of block you. If you end up here, it's 3 turns for you to get to Moscow, and it's only 2 for them. So that you're kind of stuck, and especially if you're here and they make it to this territory, they can kill you here, here, or here. So you're basically stuck. So if you're going to defend this, try to do it with mechanized units that can run away when you decide it's time to get out of there. Yeah, so mechanized units and planes, and you just have to keep an eye on how many transports and planes Germany has available, because you don't want your planes sitting here not realizing that you can be hit by a whole bunch of planes, from G5, and then you just lose your whole air force in one go. So what else do I want to say? So we talked a little bit about how you're going to try to keep two cities if possible, and as much money as possible. In the meantime, hopefully your allies, the US and the UK, are getting strong over in this area, putting pressure on Germany, maybe coming up here, threatening to take this city from the back, forcing defense here so that it's not units coming towards you. And then maybe they're, trying to come into to the Italian city here, or take this factory, take stuff from Italy in the south. Maybe the UK is pretty strong down here from India. They can get a factory here, minor or major. And so you'll have to see how that's going. But this is going to be like kind of a typical out-of-box game for Russia, where Germany is trying to take Moscow. So you're just going to be on the back foot, try to keep the income lead for the allies for as long as possible, because you do start with a pretty big lead in income. I mean, this isn't even counting Russia because the money's spent right now, but so you start with a very big income lead, and I guess the main point of Germany and Japan going after Russia and China is that they can catch up fairly quickly in income. So you're trying to stop that from happening. Let the UK get big, get all their national objectives, and um, start, making landings and doing what they can against Germany and Italy, and maybe Japan as well, depending on what they're doing. So, um, yeah, if necessary, you might need to drop down to just one city. So maybe you abandon the north and head down here. If you abandon this, you're gonna kind of abandon the Chinese units that are helping you, and they might just get clobbered in that case. So, but if you come down here, um, Germany's got to chase you, and usually Japan is going to be fairly weak compared to all of Russia. Like they'll have enough possibly to take this or this city. But if you have your entire Russian army coming down this way, Japan just will not be able to deal with that, and they'll have to back off. And so if you are really in a tight situation where you're going to basically uh, lose as Russia, you're going to lose everything. What you might want to do is abandon Russia completely and head into China. And maybe you go and park on this city, this Chinese city, or even come down here or walk right through, help get China back in the game. That's kind of your last ditch effort, I would say, to make sure that the Axis don't get their cities. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of something to keep in your back pocket. Yeah, so I wanted to keep it mainly on if the Axis are going Russia and China first for this video. So maybe in a future video we'll talk about if they're going for France or the UK first. But just a couple of kind of, I guess, things to point out, in this kind of a game, but in others as well. One thing you can look to do is like you do have 5 planes. That's not bad. It's better than out of box. And if Japan in concert with Italy is trying to go after India first, keep in mind that you can go and try to help save that with your planes. Often people don't think of that. They've got their planes generally up here, but if you have your planes, I think it's in this territory. Okay, you would need to be here to get them to India. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So think about how far can I be away? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not that one. Okay, so if your planes are in this general area, think about could I reach R23 and then jump to here to save this city, and that's something to keep in your back pocket if you can see that Japan and Italy or Italy are coming for India. The extra 5 planes from Russia might be enough to save it, which is good for you to have the UK have this factory pumping out ground units. Of course, it's going to take planes away from up here, but it might be worth saving that. Another thing to think about is from this city here with the air base, you can actually reach over here to the UK territory. What is this, UK 5? Or if there happens to be aircraft carriers in this C zone or this C zone, you can make it over there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or here or here. So keep an eye out for an opportunity that Germany may not be thinking about you having the range to take out their fleet. So keep that in mind. Look for an opportunity to take out the German fleet unexpectedly. We talked about if you can get a sub over here, it's really helpful for the Allies to take out German blockers. The other thing that people often don't think about as Russia is you often have a reasonable sized force down here. And in this game, we went primarily with infantry and artillery, but sometimes you'll want to go, if you're not going to get a major factory, you're probably getting out a lot of mechanized infantry. In other games where Germany's going against France first, you're going to have a lot of money and you might be buying mechanized infantry and tanks. And you are closer than most people realize to this city right here. This kind of goes in both directions. Germany can come through here, but people often don't want to take out this independent neutral. But as Russia, think about the possibility of swinging your mechanized units down here, and with your slow units, you go to IN8 and then here and then to this city. So if Germany is really not paying attention and they've kind of abandoned all this, and you have 20, 25 units sitting here, and you've got mechanized units that can go 1, 2, 3, 4, or something like that. Keep an eye out for the opportunity um, to do a surprise attack on this G15 territory. Of course, it's going to take 1, 2, 3 turns to get there, but you'll have to think ahead. But something that Germany usually isn't expecting. So yeah, so I think that's it. You're going to want to watch out for Japan also from this side if they've got a naval base and transports coming and taking this territory or this one. But yeah, so you're just going to work in concert with the allies basically to try to keep the allied income lead. Another thing that people often don't think about is using Anzac to help with this northern island. They're actually close enough to do it pretty efficiently. From this territory, C Zone 34, there's a naval base here, and you can produce here 1, 2, 3, and come up here and kill German units. So it's another way to help out, weaken Germany, and try to keep them off this island as long as possible. So yeah, and if the Allies have ships off of London here, it's kind of helpful to keep Germany playing defense. You do have to have a good number of them, though, of US or UK transports, because Germany is probably going to be favoring this factory anyway. Most games, this factory is pumping out units all game long. So they're going to have 10 units being produced every turn, plus possibly their planes. So you're going to need several transports to even overcome like the natural defense that's going to be there in any case. So but yeah, something to think about. And you can come from this side and help get this island as well from the north, get a lot of money off of Germany's hands. So anyway, so that's it. Like I said, maybe we will in the future do another video talking more about what happens if Germany and Japan are favoring going after the UK first, trying to do a sea lion sort of thing, or if Germany and Japan are going after France first, then you want to play a lot differently than this. In that case, I would say probably don't try to get the major factory too early. Wait until you're in the war and you're going to be getting a lot of money, because most likely you're going to have this northern island, and a good chance you're going to be getting your other national objectives and moving forward towards Germany as well. So anyway, I hope that's helpful as the allies, and I hope to follow this up with some other videos about the other allied nations, UK, US in particular, of how to, I guess, combat this Russia and China first sort of strategy. So anyway, I guess that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later.